Hey everybody, welcome to the Elder of Rock. I am Stephen Elder, back with my series of two and through bands that only made two CDs and then they were done. That was it. So the band I'm going to talk about today is a band called Fight. That is of course, as you know, probably well aware that this was Rob Halford's first band after leaving Judas Priest. It was originally intended as a solo project, but then and he started writing material for it, I guess, on Priest, the last tour he did with Priest, but for some whatever reason, things were deteriorating within the band, and he decided to leave the band, and then this became his first band after that. Highly influenced by the fact that he had seen Pantera at a club and really liked the direction of their music, and he invited them on a European tour with Judas Priest and was very influenced by their music. In fact, the first thing he did was a song on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie soundtrack called Light Comes Out of Black. The band is listed as Light Comes Out of Black, but that has Pantera on it. That's him with Pantera as a backing band, so it's an interesting thing. But anyways, but Fight here, they released two CDs. This one here, first one is War of Words. This came out, I believe, I think it was 92. Let me check my dates here. Um, oh, Actually, this came out in 1993, and I remember getting this. Now, I got this one. Remember when for those of you older, you could go to join the Columbia House records where you got like whatever, how many CDs for a penny after you bought so many at club prices. Of course, what they don't tell you is that the club prices are very elevated. So so it kind of doesn't even out the way you hope it will. And then, of course, a lot of us do know that we probably our credit was affected by not paying that off. Anyway, so but Fight, the first one here, War of Words, like I said, came out in '93. This is really good. This is what maybe would have been if Judas Priest would have taken this direction, which I guess you could say they did on Jugulator, but this is maybe what it would have sounded like, but very Pantera influence. It's got those kind of grooves in it that Pantera is known for. Um, you got 12 tracks on here: Into the Pit, Nailed to the Gun, Life in Black, Immortal Sin, War of Words, Laid to Rest, For All Eternity, Little Crazy, Contortion, Kill It, Vicious, and Reality, A New Beginning. And of course, there is a hidden track on here at the end of this is CDs. When back in the day, CDs would have hidden tracks where the last song would play, but you notice the CD is not ending and it goes silent for maybe a couple minutes, which I don't know why they had to put so much silence in there. But anyway, then a hidden track would come on, and this was a demo of a track called "Jesus Saves," which I will talk about maybe in a second here. But anyway, yeah. So just with this War of Words, CD here, and what did you get here in the inside? What I can't remember. You get. Oh yeah, okay. Then I just got a little poster here of Fight. Not a very good picture though. You really it's kind of dark. I mean, it's black and white. You get the Fight logo. Uh, but and then some thanks. Yeah, the personnel, by the way, on this first Fight CD was Rob Halford, of course. Russ Parrish on guitar, keyboards, and backing vocals. Brian Tilse, guitarist, keyboard, and backing vocals. JJ, bassist and backing vocals. And Scott Travis, uh, percussionist. He's also a percussionist. Maybe that was a Judas Priest thing. Maybe he can be listed as a drummer and backing vocals. And that was the other weird thing about this, that Rob Halford had left Judas Priest, but they allowed Scott Travis. He was still a member of Judas Priest. They let him do this, so I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's a really good album. Really good album. If you like Pantera, if you like what Judas Priest did on Painkiller, you should definitely check this one out. It's produced by Rob Halford, and I think he wrote all this. He's given as writing credit. Let me make sure here. Produced by Rob Halford. I believe he maybe wrote these. I'm not sure. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, yeah. So he's credited as this is all compositions by Rob Halford. So so I guess I don't know if that this is like an Ozzy thing where he's just given all the credits, or if he actually did write all this stuff, and he might have. He seems more musically inclined. Maybe he could do something like this. Anyway, so yeah, this one's cool. I really like that one. The second one here, and then this is a Small Deadly Space. Let me get this out here. Small Deadly Space. So this one, when I first came out, I warmed up to it in recent years, but when it first came out, I was kind of taken aback by it. Of course, this was the '90s. This came out when I think '95, probably. 19. It came out in 1995. So this was like in the middle of heavy metal kind of not being cool, and maybe Judas Priest was seen as a dinosaur. So this kind of went into more of like had a more of like a grunge type kind of Alice in Chains sort of feel to it. It's got some good songs on. Like I said, I warmed up to it in recent years. It's got some great songs on it, but it's not like a heavy metal record like War of Words is. This one is a little bit, like I said, more grungy, more raw. Um, Personnel you got on here is Rob, of course, and might have been a. I think one of them may have left. Let's see. Scott Travis, Mark. Oh, my, they had a guitar change. Mark Charles, lead and rhythm guitars. JJ and Brian Tills. JJ bass. Brian Tills, rhythm guitars and piano. And here's the you got lyrics here. Some, some of these things here is there's the. Yeah, I'll try to go slow here. I can always try to find the graphic. I can put it up. Yeah. So anyway, you got and so there. And this was. Ah, no, it's putting this thing back up. I'm trying to find the credits here. I'm just trying to find the credits. I think these were, yeah, these have co-writing. He co-wrote a lot of this with some of his band. Brian Tills, it looks like mostly. Mark Choss, the guitar. So it's like these are either written with the guitar players. One of the guitar players. I don't think JJ has any credits on here. And let's see, produced by Artie Ball and Rob Halford, engineered by Artie Ball. Yeah, so like I said, this is a different kind of album for like, but it does have some good tracks on it. I especially like a track on it called Never Again, and there's another one. What is it called? Blowout in the Radio Room, which is pretty cool. Uh, the, the opening, and then thinking maybe I was thrown off a little bit because the opening you know, War of Words opens up with Into the Pit, and this kind of has a mid-tempo opening. Maybe you should have went. I think Mouthpiece, the next one is a bit heavier. Maybe you should have opened with that. It might have been a little bit drawn you in a little bit better. But anyway, yeah. So cool. So this is you got the tracks on here. I'm Alive, Mouthpiece, Legacy of Hate, Blowout in the Red Room, Never Again, Small Deadly Space, Gretna Green, Beneath the Violence, Human Crate, and World of My Own Making, and also has the hidden track on here called Psycho Suicide, which and these those like that's again a demo form. It's not recorded in the studio. Now they did also have an EP they put out in between this one and War of Words. It was called Mutations, and this was just a remix. Um, EP, just remixing some of the songs. And they're kind of done in like I wouldn't say they're done for dance, like Turbo. They did a remix of Turbo Lover, and that was kind of like seen it more of like a maybe for dancing. And this was more like had some just kind of industrial um, type remixes on it. Kind of inventive, pretty cool. And then it has some live stuff on here. Of course, all from the first album, War of Words, except for it does have a version of Wheel Burning, which I so cool to hear at that time when you heard that, and it's like, oh, cool, he's going back to his roots, he's reaching back a little, and doing Judas Priest and a song that's kind of a deep cut for some people, and so yeah, so it's just cool. cool thing there. And then later, I can't remember when this came out. I forgot what it was. Yeah, 2007, I think it looks like. They released this one called Fight K5. These are demos of just the War of the Words album. War of the Words, War of Words, and and then it's got those two tracks that were hidden tracks on here: Psycho Suicide and Jesus Saves, and um, and it's got some other tracks that were unreleased in demo, all in demo form. So this isn't a proper studio album, so that's why. Uh, and I think it's even, and it's not literally listed as a release from Fight. So there you go. So yeah, so but cool. It's it's good. I guess after the second album wasn't received so well, and of course we know Rob went off to do the Two project after that. That was a one and done, but oddly named Two. Oh, well, anyway. Um, so yeah, so there you go. Two. So these are cool though. Like I said, and this one was later reissued with a different cover, more of like with this Fight logo, um, and not this artwork. So that was another thing that is kind of threw you. Just has this. It's not that they changed the logo because a lot of bands do that from album to album, but this just it seemed like a generic logo, kind of. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So there you go. So Fight to and through. Thanks for watching. Watch for me on episodes of The Contrarians and Grant's Rock Warehouse. Like and subscribe. Comments if you what your favorite tracks are on this album, and if you have any other bands that you can think of, because I'm trying to think of bands. I have a few in that, of course, but I'm trying to think of more. So if you know of any other bands that were like to and through in the hard rock heavy metal thing, do in the comments, and I will put some links to these as well. If you want to hear some, I'll put the links to the albums in the comments as well. So thank you for watching The Elder of Rock. We'll see you next time. The Elder of Rock.